Welcome into Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. I'm Megan Payton. It's Monday Night Football, but more importantly, guys, this is Big Ben's last game at Heinz Field. I know that he kind of hinted at it, but it's the last game. This is it. And so I just can't help but this whole week I'm thinking about Ben Roethlisberger, everything that he has done for the Steelers organization. I know we've talked about him this week, but I really want us to show him the same amount of love that he has shown all Steelers fans for the 18 years he has been in Pittsburgh. So right now I'm asking all of you guys to go to the comments, stop what you're doing, type 7 in the chat to show Big Ben your appreciation. I want to see like 100 sevens in the comments right now. Let's go, Big Ben. It is his last game in Heinz Field tonight, taking on the Browns. And it is our Steelers mailbag show today. So if you're new here to Steelers Talk, what we do is we'll ask you guys earlier in the week, hey, what do you guys want us to talk about? We'll answer your questions. You're featured on our show. It's a win-win for you guys. And so today, I think we all have a lot of Big Ben questions. So some of those will be revolved around Ben Roethlisberger's retirement, of course, other stuff regarding the offseason. But our first one is, of course, about Big Ben. Steelers fan 3000 says, people don't appreciate how good Big Ben has been. Easily a first ballot Hall of Famer. I couldn't agree more, guys. And I think that this is something really important to note. I honestly think that Ben Roethlisberger has been so underrated in the NFL. I feel like we don't talk about him as much nationally. I feel like he gets overlooked a ton. And honestly, he has just been such a dominant guy for this Steelers organization. 64.5 completion percentage. This is over 247 games. He's had 63,000 yards, 721, 416 touchdowns, 209 interceptions. We'll kind of leave that one out for now. But Ben Roethlisberger has obviously done so much for the NFL, and he's changed the game, I'd say, for the Steelers organization. We did a video earlier this week saying he's, I'd say, the top quarterback the Steelers have ever had. Terry Bradshaw would be maybe the only guy you would compare him to. But Ben has two-time Super Bowl champion, a 6-time NFL Pro Bowler, 6th all-time in passing yards, and 8th all-time in touchdowns. I can't say like everything in words of how much he has meant to me as a football fan, and obviously to you guys as huge Steelers fans. I'd say there's not a question in my mind that Big Ben is a first ballot Hall of Famer. So I'll ask you guys this. Our pinned comment for today is Big Ben a first ballot Hall of Famer? So go to the comments right now, type D for duh, or type N for I'm not smart, because he obviously is. There's no question about it. I'm not even giving you a no option, but make sure you go get your votes in right now. Okay, so Edwin Garcia wanted to be a little negative on our mailbag show today. He said, #Steelers, season's over, Bengals won. All right, Edwin, the season's not over. It might be a little bit trickier, and it might be, a more difficult path, but it's not over yet. And I'll tell you why, because the Steelers, all they've got to do is win their last 2 games. The Steelers are going to beat the Browns. I no question in my mind, especially now. Browns aren't playing to win. We'll talk about that later, but Steelers need to win out, and then the Jaguars need to beat the Colts. So this is where it gets a little bit more difficult. Now, that's out of their control. We've talked about this here at Steelers Talk. You can only do what you can. So I don't know whether or not the Colts are going to be able to lose to the Jaguars. It might be a little bit unrealistic, but it's not over yet. And it does start with the Steelers beating the Browns Monday Night Football. That is tonight. And if you look at these, they've been back-to-back this whole season. The AFC North has been so competitive. Obviously, Bengals end up beating the Chiefs, which then allows them to win the AFC North. Browns are eliminated, though, from the playoffs. So now this spread has shifted a bit. Steelers are favorites in this game. And I really think this whole team knows what's at stake. Not only playoffs, but obviously Ben Roethlisberger's last game. You look at this AFC playoff picture, and yes, Steelers are still in the others category. Right now, you don't have to worry about any other games, though. You don't have to worry about the Raiders anymore, Chargers. Unfortunately, that didn't work out in the Steelers' best case scenario. So all we are looking for this week is obviously a Steelers win. And as we move on to week 18, we are looking for the Jacksonville Jaguars to somehow come up on top and beat the Indianapolis Colts. But we are going back to Big Ben for a sec because I'm telling you, we have to talk about him during this whole show. I don't care if this is 90% of the video, but I've decided that our sponsor for today is going to be all Ben Roethlisberger stuff. If you guys go to chatsports.com/Big Ben, there's a ton of Big Ben jerseys, shirts. They've got Big Ben memorabilia across the board. And a lot of this stuff is on a great sale. If you want a signed Big Ben football, it's, I think, like $200 off the original price. They've got signed jerseys, a ton of different Ben Roethlisberger gear, memorabilia. And now's the time. Let's show him some love by getting us as many Big Ben memorabilia as we can. That's chatsports.com/Big Ben. All right, moving on to our next question from PD Jennings. How do you think Najee will do tonight? #Steelers. So I'm being ultra positive. I think Najee Harris is going to have a great game tonight. And that's because I think that the offensive line is going to step up. I think that this whole team is going to step up. Again, they all know what's at stake. And I do think that they want to send Big Ben out well. They do not want to lose their last home game at Heinz Field. Big Ben's the last game of his career at home. They do not want to have a bad performance. And I think Najee Harris has had, a difficult case dealing with an offensive line that's young and struggling. But against the Chiefs, he put up 93 yards, 19 carries, 93 yards, an average of 4.9. And you look at what he's done in 2021. His average, sure, it might only be 3.7, but he's had 984 yards in 2021. He's obviously on track to reach over 1,000 yards, 268 carries. He's had 6 touchdowns. And so I'm going to say it. We've talked about it before. This O-line needs to step up because this offensive line determines how Big Ben is going to play. It determines how Najee Harris is going to do. They are the foundation to this offense. And so I do think that they are going to step up. And we've talked about in a previous video about what they're going to do about the Kendrick Green, JC Hassenauer situation. I like them going with JC at center. We'll see if that actually happens. But I think the more and more improvement we see from this offensive line, obviously more improvement we are going to see from Najee Harris. All right, so my next question for you guys is, do you think Najee Harris will rush for over or under 100 yards versus the Browns? Told you I'm staying positive on today's show. He's going to be over 100 yards, so I'm taking O for over. And if you're saying U for under, that's okay. Go to the comments and type U for under. And guys, we are going to keep you updated on all things Steelers. Obviously, we are going to be talking playoffs. I hope that after tonight, we are talking about the way in which the Steelers can still make the playoffs, because if they lose tonight, they are eliminated. But these are all things that we keep you updated here with at Steelers Talk. So if you have not already, go to youtube.com/Steelers TV or press that big red button so you do not miss out on any Steelers news. All right, our last question on today's mailbag show is coming in from Go Juju Smith-Schuster. We haven't talked about Juju in a sec, so I liked this question to add in. He says, I really hope we bring back Juju. If not, who could we re-sign, or who could we sign/draft to replace him? #Steelers. So unfortunately, I'd say the Steelers do need to get a quarterback first. And now I told you we're not really talking a ton about quarterback replacements until after tonight's game. I just don't think it's respectful to start talking about who Big Ben should, or who should replace Big Ben until he's had his last home game. We are obviously going to talk about that. But Juju Smith-Schuster, I'd love him to come back to Pittsburgh. Whether he does or doesn't, I don't know, because I think that it's been an iffy situation there. Whether or not he returns to Pittsburgh, obviously we do not know yet, but we can look at the top 2022 wide receiver free agents. Davante Adams, that would be great if Pittsburgh could somehow end up getting him. Chris Godwin, Allen Robinson, Mike Williams, and Michael Gallup. Now, I really love the Steelers going all out. I mean, in a perfect world, they get Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers. Now, I don't know how realistic that is. But as we talk Juju Smith-Schuster, we start thinking about the offseason. I really would like Pittsburgh to come up with the deal that's fair, where Juju feels like he belongs there. He's happy. And also the Steelers feel like they've got him back. I think Juju is a great addition. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see him really much at all this season because he went out with a season-ending injury. Now, we do look at our Chat Sports top wide receiver prospects in this draft. That's another option for the Steelers. Now, How realistic is it that Pittsburgh could actually get these guys? Depending on their draft pick, I don't know. I mean, I could see some of these guys gone a little bit earlier. And also, do you want to use your first round pick on a wide receiver? But you can see the list here. I think Jameson Williams is one that I would probably point out. I really like him, and I think he would work well with this Steelers offense, depending on how they change it during the offseason. But Drake London, you can look at this list for yourself. I think we'll talk a lot more drafts as the offseason approaches, but it's going to depend on what they do at the quarterback position. We can't start talking wide receiver draft prospects until we understand what they are going to do about the quarterback room. All right, guys, if you would like to get on our next mailbag show, I'll tell you how to do it. First, you have to subscribe because you cannot be featured on our show unless you are subscribed to Steelers Talk. Then you go down to the comment section, you use hashtag Steelers, ask us whatever you'd like. You can talk Big Ben, you can talk offseason, any Steelers questions you guys have. We'll take a look at them, we'll pick the best ones, and then we will feature you on our next mailbag show.